What's up, players? This is Hall of Famer Teddy Long, and right now we're getting ready to have a six-pack challenge match with Potsy and Tino on the big podcast show. Holla at a player.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the Pots and Pans Network brings to you its Tag Team Champions of the World. The Road Dogg, Brad Maddox. The Badass from Potsy Podcast. Tino Gray.
Again, what fun.
Oh, it's hilarious, and you know it.
Whatever, bitch.
The Potsy and Tino Show. That's right, folks. Our theme song, as always, is brought to you by Adam's House Cats, called The Wrestling Song. It's available. Wrestling song. It's available on iTunes for 99 cents. 99 cents. 99. We're brought to you by the Pots and Pans Network. We're available on YouTube as you're watching us right now. He's available on Twitter at HootieFan91.
She's alone by a lamppost.
I'm Pochak on Twitter.
What the fuck is this?
What do you mean? What the fuck is this? We already got Michael Turner.
I told you. Thank you, Michael.
Michael celebrated a birthday this week. Happy birthday, Michael.
Happy birthday.
I'm still laughing.
You're the only one, apparently, because Michael agrees with me.
Well, it's okay. It's okay. As long as one of us is popped.
Okay.
As long as one of us is popped, it's okay.
I'm going to unplug this song.
Do not.
Well, it's there.
Yeah, it's always there.
I know. Pisses me off. What the fuck is...
It's a sheet of paper.
I don't want to hold it up in case it happens.
Like this, where it's like all my GameStop stories.
I didn't know if it was, what not supposed to announce or anything.
Accidentally. You mean like this right here?
Yeah.
Where we're not showing something right now.
Yeah, I was making sure that wasn't on paper. What are you're kind of letting them peek right there.
Well, I'm just showing a hand. It's okay.
No, but then you went like that.
Oh, well, everybody got a show. What about this right here?
You showed that last week.
I did. Junior High Horrors, Karate Kai coming out in January. We got Chris Barrett in the audience as well already. Awesome. Howdy, folks. You missed me losing the belt while getting lit.
Oh,
Chris Barrett. I got lit in honor of the lunatic. Wow. I don't know if that's really what you're supposed to do when someone checks themselves into rehab. I mean, you're supposed to pour one out for your homies, right?
That's if they die.
Well,
you think Moxley's dead?
No,
Okay.
But Judy Bagwell is. I mean, we had Judy Bagwell on a pole match.
When the story came across on my phone, it had a picture of her on the forklift.
On the forklift.
Did I send that to you?
Yes. How did they talk that nice old woman into that?
They said, "You want your son to keep his job? Get on a forklift."
Was she actually Marcus Bagwell's mom?
Yeah, that's his real mom.
Because Shelton Benjamin's mom wasn't his mom.
No, but that's his mom.
Yeah, a little.
No,
I don't know what it was. Don't spit on my floor. The fuck is wrong with you? Raised in a barn, motherfucker. Look at this guy right here. Jesus. I'm going to make you wear a mask. So, all right, Tino. Lots going on in the pro wrestling world. We'll obviously get to that. Lot of not necessarily good stuff going on in the pro wrestling world, as we just mentioned. John Moxley checking himself into rehab shortly after our show last week.
Yeah, was it after the show when they released like 20 more wrestlers, or was that last week?
They released the wrestlers.
Did we talk about it last week?
I think we did.
Okay.
I think Chris Barrett, did we talk about the releases last week? If we did not, we can go ahead and talk about it today. It amazes me. But before we do that,
Dave Stockwell died.
Yeah, man.
I know, man.
Do not pour anything on my floor.
Right here?
No, that is where the electricity is.
Get one for Quantum Leap. That's my favorite.
One for Dean Stockwell.
Oh, and Peter Scolari.
And, oh, geez Louise, man. Bosom buddies. The younger crowd out there probably remember Peter Scolari as like the evil Commissioner Loeb from Gotham.
Oh yeah,
yeah, he was creepy in that show. Chris Barrett says, Buff should consider himself lucky. I know my mama wouldn't do anything like Judy. Well, she got paid.
Yes,
she got paid, and I think that was the Russo era by then, wasn't it? Sitting there doing stuff like that.
Was it? I think it was before Russo. The Viagra on the pole match was Russo.
Man, Michael just wrote R.I.P. Dean, and I was thinking, Moxley?
No. Stockwell.
I know.
We had this conversation.
I know. It just freaked me out for a second there, like you see something like that. We're just talking about Jon Moxley putting himself in rehab. All of a sudden, yes, we mentioned Dean Stockwell, but and you know what sucks about the Dean Stockwell thing?
His name's not Dean Moxley.
No, his name is Jon Moxley, but he was Dean Ambrose.
Oh, gotcha. You lost me. Okay.
Yep.
I'm back.
But you know what really sucks about, obviously we lost a great actor with Dean Stockwell and Peter Scolari. Yes. I think both of them were excellent actors. With Dean Stockwell, like there was an interview between Bob Saget and Scott Bakula just about like 4 or 5 weeks ago that was talking about the possibility of coming back to Quantum Leap.
Oh, dude.
And when Bakula was asked about it, and he's sitting there talking about it like we keep having conversations. Like it always goes back to the producer of it was the same guy that did Jag, Belisarius, Donald Belisario, and he was like we keep talking about it. And Saget's like, well, why hasn't it happened yet? Then that show was great, and it was only on for like 4 seasons, by the way.
Oh no, I loved it all 4 years.
But he said that the reason why they hadn't put it back together and done it is because Dean Stockwell cost too much money.
Well, I was flipping through YouTube earlier, and they, I guess this interview was done a couple of days ago. Tom Hanks was on the Jimmy Kimmel show. And they were
talking about Peter Scolari
and bosom buddies, and Tom Hanks was telling the story about them being on the set. He's like how they would goof off with the props, and like back then they were to tape, so they were taped, so they had a script written one way, and so while the guys are cut the camera this, and while they're up there, him and Peter Scolari down there goofing off and changing lines, are like, okay, is that the way you're gonna do it? Yeah, I think so. And so they go back to try to fix the camera angles for that, and they do something else, and finally goes, damn it! We get the scene set and you switch. Which way are you going to do it? And then Peter Scolari's like, we're going to do it this way. He goes, you think it's so easy? You want to come up here and direct? You come up here and direct. Scolari's like, I'm on my way up there. And Tom Hanks like, calm down. I have ADHD and you have anger issues. We need to calm down. And just hear him telling the stories. And then they showed a clip from Bosom Buddies. And at the end, they came back. And Tom was literally choked up where Kimmel had said, okay, say thank you to Tom Hanks who's coming out the show. Because you could tell Hanks was trying to hold it together.
Yeah.
But to hear him tell that story, man, it was just hilarious. I remember being a kid, loved that show. I watched it. And that was back because
I don't care what they say.
Yeah, it was originally it's Billy Joel's song, but another person sang it.
Yeah, because they couldn't get the rights.
Yeah. And so and then he was like the scene to cut to. He said, yeah, this was back, if I remember, 1981. I'm like, damn, was it? It's almost 40 years ago.
That is 40 years ago.
Yeah. Oh my God.
That is 40 years ago. And think about it this way: Tom Hanks is now what, a 2-time or 3-time Oscar award-winning actor. He's got a new movie out on Apple TV right now.
That's what they were promoting.
Of course. It looks like Chappie with Tom Hanks. Mm-hmm. It actually looks like Chappie meets Castaway. Uh-huh. So I don't know if it's any good. It's called Finch. I believe
Finch.
What it's called. So Tino, we always do a segment on the show. We obviously started with somber moments there, but we want to get to something a little bit better. What's up with you? What's up with you? Don't say nothing.
Nothing. Last Saturday, so a friend of ours got married. One of our neighbors got married, so we went to the wedding. And it was an interesting wedding. We had a good time. Yeah, probably. We had a good time, but towards the end of the night, I realized. So the girl got married. She is probably early to mid 30s, maybe, and so her crowd, it seemed younger. So I noticed as the night went on, they got drunk, and the DJ started playing, and I'm sitting back watching all these young people drunkenly dance, and I realized
that you're old.
I was getting aggravated. I'm like, I'm not into this. I'm ready to go. I can't do this. Like probably 15, 20 years ago, I'd have been right there with them. But now at 48, I'm like, no, this one go home. Yeah. And Nicole was having a good time, and she was mingling. I'm like, no, I want to go home. But then something happened. My most favorite thing to do.
The electric slide?
No.
The chicken dance?
No, it's to watch drunk people dance.
It is kind of like a train wreck.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're just all doing, and it's outside. And so this poor DJ. So they got married outside, and it was at the venue was like outside, and they had like a barn. That's where they had the reception. And I've DJ'd at this place before. When I DJ'd, they were inside. Well, no, they had so many people that the DJ booth was like outside, right outside the barn door, and they had a little square, probably about as big as your backyard.
Oh, the 10 by 10?
Yeah, to dance, a little dance floor. Yeah, just the dance floor. I'm like, the hell it is. It's cold outside. It was at night.
Yeah.
It was 38 degrees at that point. I'm like, no, sir. No, sir. Dude took off his shirt and was dancing. I'm like, yeah, no, it's time to go home. It's time to go home.
But you like watching that because you like watching drunk people dance. Yeah.
Not just regular drunk people. So, and the girls, and it went back to, I'm like, they're wearing the short skirts and the hanging out. I'm like, put clothes on. Again, a few years ago, I'm like, hey, girl. Now it's like daddy mode. I'm like, where are your clothes?
Yeah, where'd you put your top?
Why'd you leave the house like that?
I tried to score a point. Wait,
what?
Wait. I tried to score a point on my cousin at his own wedding on the dance floor. I did not get point. Were you trying to show up your cousin on the dance floor at his own wedding? That's what it sounds like.
But I had a good time.
I think that was yours.
That was mine. It was yeah. We had a good time at the wedding. And then I just gotten back into, because we're trying to change our diet up and we have to go gluten-free. And so yeah, that's gonna be fun. And so I'm getting back into, so I'd already started eating clean again. I'd already started last week.
Yeah, pork rinds, I saw it, yeah.
Well, but that's all I ate. That I had earlier. I've eaten a clean eat, so I've been eating I've had gas because my body's clearing out. A lot of greens and a lot of protein, but I hadn't eaten dinner. That's why I had I figured that was the best bet.
Speaking of gas,
didn't have any calories in it or any carbs. So I'm like, hey, it's pork rinds and water. But eating clean. So today I got out there. So me and Matthew went in the garage and we're working out. I found a new workout buddy. So we're out there lifting, and so we've decided that, hey, he's old enough, and I was showing him how to do it correctly. So we were out there working out. So I got a new workout.
You don't know how to do it correctly. You blew out your damn knee.
But I wasn't working out when I blew out my knee. So yeah. So getting back into that. About it. Trying to get healthy again.
So that's about all that's going on with you. You got any shows coming up?
Hickory Saturday.
What's it called?
Windy City Sundries in Hickory.
Yeah, I'm not gonna remember that.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna go.
You're not going.
I'm not going. Yeah. You spending the night out there?
Always do. Yeah, and come back Saturday, Sunday.
Maybe one of these times I will go out there and we'll crash in the hotel room.
It was fun.
Yeah.
What do you got going on?
So, I got the Karate Kai issue of Junior High Horrors that the artwork's coming in for now. Also have the Mandalorian, which all the artwork's been turned in. Now we're waiting on the colors, and I hired a letterer for it, so we actually get it lettered, and it doesn't have to be by me, because I'm just not finding the time to do some of this stuff anymore. So the other day, after finishing those scripts and everything and getting those books ready to go on my end, I started working on my Strangest Thingies 2 cover.
Okay.
As well as I started writing Strangest Thingies 2.
Okay.
So Junior High Horror, Strangest Things 2, which is going to be the next book after Karate Kai. Right now, I think we're looking at an April release date for it. For Strangest Things. And the reason why is because I expect Netflix to announce Stranger Things Season 4 to be announced for an April release.
I thought it had been done by now. I thought it was October for some reason. I thought they were going.
Well, I mean, we're in November now.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I'm surprised it's not out.
So they pushed it off, obviously because they were filming. I think they were filming overseas for some of it, and obviously they were filming here for in Durham is where they filmed some of it. Or at least they make mention of places in Durham because that's where the Duffer Brothers actually apparently got this idea and everything, which is right down the road from us, obviously. So I want to make sure that book is ready to go and comes out around the same time.
Okay.
Just because, if we hit that moment where, it can be ordered and that Netflix is going to have the show, right then we should increase sales because Stranger Things will be on everybody's mind at that point. So that's in play right now. Like I said, I hired a letterer for Mandalorian. Eric's going to be turning in the pages for Karate Kai to me shortly. So as soon as he's got pages colored, he's going to be sending those over. So I'll start lettering all of those. So we've got some good stuff coming in terms of the comics. And then I got my doctor's appointment next week. So I haven't been drinking all week. I'm gonna go get my labs done either tomorrow morning if I wake up early enough, or I'm gonna wait until Thursday to get my labs done.
What for?
Your annual labs.
So what's I got to do to drinking?
Well, so my doctor, last time he told me, he's because I guess I went drinking the night before I got my labs done last time. Mm-hmm. So things were elevated. So he said, so when he was talking to me, he's like, hey, this number looks a little elevated. This number looks a little elevated. I was like, well, I was out drinking the night before I got my labs done. And he goes, yeah, don't do that. And I'm like, okay. And then I said, well, how many days should I take off before? And he goes 4 or 5. Okay. So I'll take 4 or 5 days off drinking. I think what he's really trying to do is say, hey, Rob, take 4 or 5 days off drinking and maybe you won't go back to it.
Nah, he doesn't know you.
I mean, I got a bottle right there. So, it's like at some point it's going to get drank, right? Today, Shane, my brother-in-law, and I were talking about the polar plunge. We did it last year.
Yep, and I'm not going again this year.
Oh, you didn't do it?
I know. So I'm saying you asked me last year. I'm said no. So I'm saying no again this year.
Well, it's for charity.
Yeah, it's cold,
and it's fucking cold. Yeah. It's not just cold. But Shane wants to do it again, so we're talking
Myrtle Beach again.
Yeah. We'll go down to the beach, which makes it easy because this year I already said a couple things. We're gonna take a shot before we go in.
Yeah, I remember you saying that last.
We're gonna take a shot as soon as we get out, and we're gonna leave the car and the heater on while we go and do it.
And then you can get to the hot tub when you get back.
The hot tub's not exactly a great idea when you do that. Because your feet are burning from how cold they are. Yeah. So obviously you do want to get your temperature back up on your entire body, but yeah, we'll probably jump in the hot tub.
And Shorty's still not gonna do it.
She's got it. She wants to be the videotaper. The one that videotapes the whole thing.
If I go out, videotape, she can go in.
No. If you go, you're going in. Yeah, man. We make a donation for you.
When is it?
That's what we're trying to figure out. We think it's going to be the last weekend of January. So the nice thing about it is that we were looking at other places you could do the polar plunge, and you could go up to upstate New York if you wanted to in January, and you literally have to cut a hole in the ice to you literally have to cut a hole in the ice and jump in. So we're not doing that. Sorry, I just got a message from somebody who might have sent me something that Tino and I need to look at really quickly. but I can't show yet.
Was that Jason?
No.
Oh,
Yeah, Jason did message.
Are those it? So we're starting with that one. I don't even get any more. Or just start.
It's just gonna be the one. And there's another picture of it. It's even got the. It's got the hat. It's got the claw. She gave him a little. She gave him two teeth.
This is gonna be awesome,
dude. Those are all right.
I want one.
So all right, folks.
You gonna tell them now?
Why not?
Are they ready? I mean, are they ready to
It's
ship?
Well, I'm gonna put them on Facebook to pre-order, right?
When will they be ready?
She said that like these will be good to go in like 2 weeks. All right, I'll hold off this week. We'll show it. We'll show it next week.
Chris Berry, you should do it. Tell me.
But so like he was talking about like Glens Falls, New York, which is where Hacksaw Jim Duggan's from.
Oh,
who had cancer and successful surgery for his cancer. But we could go there and do it, which basically means you go out, like if you watch the new Dexter, it's like going out and seeing the hole in the ice and jumping in. Yeah, I'm not doing that. No. So luckily, Tino, it's in South Carolina. So there's always the possibility that it's 78 degrees at the beach in January.
I'll risk it.
Come on. Don't be a pussy. So, all right. Roddy Piper was from Saskatchewan. Yeah, Saskatoon. Hacksaw has had cancer twice. Yeah, well, okay, but he did have successful cancer surgery, removal surgery, like 2 weeks ago.
Another one.
Yeah, she sent in more and more photos. So I'm shush. Anyways, all right. So and then the other thing that's up with me, Tino, is it came to my attention that my birthday, December 22nd, Wednesday night, there just happens to be about 30 minutes down the road.
That's about an hour.
It's Greensboro. It's about 30 minutes from here.
For me, it's about my daughter goes in.
Yeah, you come here first, then we go, and then it's 30 minutes.
Okay.
And then it's like 40 minutes for you to get home. So, but Tino, let's get to the point of it.
Get to the point.
Dynamite and Rampage, 45 minutes down the road.
Yeah.
On my birthday. I think it's a sign. And you know what I think else? I'm going to have a sign.
Oh, God.
That says, it's my first Dynamite and it's my birthday.
And what do you think is going to happen?
I don't know. Jericho might come up and sign my sign.
We got our
Eddie
signs.
Kingston might rip it up.
We got our signs taken away last time we took signs. So
but that's because I put my Twitter handle on the sign. And it was just my Twitter handle. It wasn't like I came to see at Potchak. No, it was.
That's not what they took my sign to. And then the building guy gave us a little sign.
Yes. We had a little yes sign. So my birthday, Dynamite and Rampage.
And then a month later.
And no, like 2 weeks later.
It's back here. It's in Raleigh.
It's in Raleigh, right in our backyard. And Tino and I have a gentleman's bet that they are not going to get more than 14,000 fans at that show.
Okay, so we had a gentleman's bet when we were leaving. No, I was the last Raw I went to. And I'm like, hey, an AEW can come. They won't come here. They will never be able to sell it out.
I did not say they won't come here. I said they will not be able to sell it out. I didn't go to Raw with you. So.
I know. I was on the phone with you when I got up. Maybe you called me.
And I'm telling you, and I'll still say it, they won't sell it out.
Ready for the maybe.
No, but so what I like about the Raleigh show. Yes, Michael, that's what we're talking about right now. The Raleigh show is going to be the second episode on TBS.
Yeah.
Meaning, if they don't, I'd be okay with that. I'd slap the shit out of him if he tried to hit me. I would
We'd be escorted out.
I don't care, man.
Like,
Are you kidding? That would be worth it.
I don't know him.
That would be worth it. And you know what? We got Tino and I'll wear our Potsy and Tino show shirts.
I gotta get a new one.
I might need a new one too.
Yeah.
I don't know. You might be down some LBs by then.
I know, but it's got. I mean,
oh, you got stains on it.
I've been wearing it, so I gotta get a new one.
All right. Well, buy the T-shirt.
Yeah.
Go on. But so we'll wear the Potsy and Tino show shirts there. That way, if I get kicked out, you see me on TV, and I'm like, no, we'll be singing Judas.
Oh yeah.
We'll be singing Judas. We'll be singing the Orange Cassidy song.
And CM Punk.
Oh yeah.
Look in my eyes. I actually watched the episode of you.
I'd actually watch that episode if you get.
When we get the seats, we can probably let them know where they are.
So right now, we've got a set dollar amount that we're looking at for seats, which will probably put us in the first row of bleachers. Which means if one John Moxley is out of rehab by then, he very well could. Because remember when I went to the WWE show with Ward, and I had to go take a leak, so I went to go to the bathroom, and the Shield walked right by Ward.
Oh man!
And I was in the bathroom.
Oh man!
I was so pissed.
Oh man!
I was so pissed. I was pissing and I was pissed. But so we are graced by AEW making its way back down south, probably to keep it in warmer weather.
That I think they're trying to keep, especially if they're coming back to TBS. I think they're trying to keep that NWA, WCW, because they're just Carolina.
Oh yeah. But on top of that, we also do have SmackDown in Greensboro as well. Day after Thanksgiving. So we and that's also WrestleCade weekend right down the road in Winston-Salem.
Yeah.
So right now, folks, we have a massive conglomerate of like wrestling stuff happening around here. So if you want, we'll start a GoFundMe so that you guys can help us pay for all the different wrestlers we want to get the voice spots from.
Yeah.
But you know, like it'll just be like I want to do WrestleCade at least one day. So Tino and I'll probably drive down to Winston-Salem. Actually, if we go down to Greensboro for SmackDown, we could probably spend the night and then just drive into Winston-Salem from there. And although I guess we really don't have to because Winston-Salem's only an hour and 10 minutes away from here. So, but yeah, so that's what's going on with me.
Cool.
There's a lot of shit going on.
Yeah.
So, what do you want to do next? What do you want to do next?
That.
Tino wants to do a GameStop story of the week. So let's go ahead and talk about a fun one. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I worked at GameStop for 14 years. Only once in my history at GameStop did I ever think I was going to get in trouble by loss prevention. And I never thought I didn't know if I did anything wrong. Okay. So here's the context behind it. GoFundMe only if I go to. Michael, you can go to the show. You you got to pay your way and everything else. That's what Tino and I are going to do. But so all right. GameStop story of the week. I was running North Hills in Raleigh, which the store's no longer there. It's a Warby Parker.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they switched it with a. So they got rid of Sunglass Hut, then they got rid of GameStop, and they replaced GameStop with another expensive sunglass place, or just glasses place, I guess. But ridiculous. It's such a terrible idea to put that next to a movie theater and a Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A.
I mean, like, what are they thinking?
Bar.
Yeah, what are they thinking? Like GameStop and Chick-fil-A should have switched spots.
Yeah.
Could you imagine how busy that GameStop would be if it was right next to the movie theater?
Yes.
But anyways, so I was running the store. And I had an assistant manager working for me, and all of a sudden, I get a phone call from my district manager. It was Kevin at the time. Kevin sits there and he goes, "Rob, I need you to go ahead and call your assistant manager in." And I'm like, "Okay."
Why Why does he sound like Paul Heyman?
When you hear him, he
okay.
Like I've done the impression of him. Like when he was my district manager, we would call other stores, and I would do the impression of him to the other manager, and they would always be like, "Kevin, why does it sound like you got a cold?" But they never said, "Is this really Kevin?"
Yeah.
They never said. They was always, "Kevin, why does it sound like you got a cold?" Well, I'm feeling a little under the weather, But anyways. So and his voice is a little bit higher pitched than Paul Heyman's.
Okay.
Paul Heyman is like that, So that was a pretty good Paul Heyman.
Don't break your arm patting yourself on the back. Finish the story.
Barry Horowitz. Self high five.
Oh, Jesus.
I can't help it, man. You started it. So I get told to call my assistant manager in. Right. So I call my assistant manager, and all of a sudden I notice loss prevention walks in the door. And I'm like, they normally only want you to call somebody else in if you're in trouble.
Oh, shit.
Why the fuck am I in trouble? What did I do? I didn't do it.
Why did you think it was your assistant manager and they wanted you in there?
Well, I don't know. But you just start thinking, hey, you're the one that's supposed to be there. Call your assistant manager and tell him he's got to work. Okay. So the assistant manager shows up, and they're like, Rob, can you come to the back? And I'm like, the fuck did I do? I don't know what did I do? So I go in the back, and this loss prevention guy was really good at getting you to weasel yourself out kind of thing, right? So he's like, Rob, I want you to sit in this chair right here. Okay. And you know how we got the ring light?
Yeah.
Well, it felt like suddenly I had the detective lamp over me, and I'm sweating beads and this loss prevention guy. I was there his very first day with the company.
Okay.
He came to my Madden Midnight was his first day with the company. So I always had a good rapport with him, but he's like, so let me ask you some questions, bro. I'm like, oh, okay. What did I do? And he goes, hey, and what it came down to was he was asking a question, and we had recently changed computer systems to where we hadn't changed the computer system at this point. So the old computer system that GameStop had, when you would go to ring up a transaction, you would have to be clocked in to do it.
Right. So
you could not ring up a transaction accidentally off the clock.
Okay.
So he's asking me this, and I'm like, no, you can't do that. No, it automatically forces you to clock in. He's like, okay, what are your initials when you clock in? Because most people would put my initials are RPP. I would put RPP, but I never liked doing that because it gave me 3 spots. And just like on the video games that you wanted to put the high score in, that was always ROB.
Okay. Right.
So it's always Rob. So he's like, so yours ROB. Yeah. So it's not RON. No. Huh. Okay. Well, here, just sit here for a couple minutes and think about what you did. Okay.
Think about what you did. You just said it wasn't you.
And I'm like, what did I do? So he leaves, and I'm like, what the fuck's going on? Did they catch me doing something? I get if you're guilty of something and you know you're guilty of it.
You didn't do anything.
But it's not that. So it's never that you didn't necessarily do anything. It's that you. So there's always 2 reasons why I feel people don't do a job. Okay, and this is my management philosophy. You either don't know, or you don't care. Right, and I've probably said that on the air before.
Oh, no, I agree. That's my philosophy too.
But there's 2 reasons why you don't know how to do something. You don't know or you don't care, right? And if you don't know, that's a teaching moment. You fix it and you teach them, and then they get better at it, right? Or if they don't care, it's time to go, right? So I'm sitting there going, did I do something I don't know? Are they going to fire me for something that I didn't know that I did wrong? And then I'm sitting here like crying like a little bitch because I'm like, I can't believe you guys fired me for something. I didn't even know. I didn't even know it was because the crying thing never works. No. Not when you look like this. No. I tried it with the cops, pulling me over. It doesn't work. I'm kidding.
Show him a thigh.
Yeah. Oh, I was like,
okay.
Anyways,
how'd that work out for you?
I don't know. I'm glad this bar was here. we just lost all our viewers. So all right. So anyway, he comes back in and he goes, "All right, Rob, you can go back out and go ring some people up." I'm like, okay. So I go back out and I'm sitting here like I look at Kevin because Kevin's there too now. And I'm like, Kevin, did I do something wrong? And he goes, I don't know, Rob, did you? And I'm like, don't fuck with me, Kevin. Like, did I do something? Like, I don't know if I did something. He goes, well, I'll put it to you this way. If you did something wrong, you might have something to worry about. But if you didn't do anything wrong, I wouldn't worry about it. And I'm like, that's a pretty fucked up way to like think. Like, if I don't know I did something wrong, then like, should I be in trouble for it? Or I was going to have to give you a ticket for that. He's going to have to give me a ticket. Yeah, that's pretty much what happens when I do something like that. So Tino, I sit there and I'm like, Kevin, stop fucking with me. Like, am I gonna have to go find a new job after today, or like, what's the deal? He goes, no, if you didn't do anything wrong, you don't have anything to worry about. Okay. So they asked for the assistant manager to go back there. So the assistant manager's back there. Dom just went to a rated R show.
I said, damn.
Just
went to a rated R show. Rob Sorn's skin. No, not skin. Anyway, you go to the back again.
No, I didn't. The assistant manager went to the back.
Oh shit.
So
what's his name?
I'm not saying. But his initials were RON. Okay. So Kevin has me call another employee from a different location and says, hey, see if they'll come in and work at your store for a couple hours. Yeah. So I'm sitting here, I'm like, now are RON and me in trouble? Like what the fuck's the deal here? Like are we both getting fired? Like, yep. And so it turns out that the assistant manager and that other employee from the other location were doing some shady shit.
Was the other employee RON too?
No. Okay. But they were from a different location. So they basically put two and two together that the two of them were in cahoots working out like these weird transactions and shit and causing product to go missing or whatever. And it actually wasn't product going missing. I don't want to talk about exactly what it was, okay. but it let's just say that it wasn't stealing from the company, but it was still stealing.
Okay.
So anyway, we had to let both of them go. And so that was the only time in my entire history working at GameStop where I thought I was in trouble with loss prevention.
Yeah, that would have scared the shit out of me too.
Yeah. And you know what? That had to have been 2011?
Oh, no, 10 years, not that long ago.
10 years, man. 10 years, man. So anyways, but yeah, that's a pretty fun story.
All right, let's get into it.
Boom.
I'm trying to remember.
So I want to talk about one moment in particular. Well, actually, I want to talk about the beginning of NXT 2.0. Mandy Rose comes out and drops the promo of her life, and yet it's still maybe a B- promo.
But she's getting better.
She feels like she's more natural in that role. So good for her. Really enjoyed it. The only thing I didn't like about the interaction between her and Io Shirai was she kept going, honey.
She's trying to be that bitch character.
Like she's trying to be Mickey James. Because that's what Mickey James always said. So let me tell you something, honey. So yeah, and I don't know if it's the natural word that's supposed to come out of her mouth or what, but it's almost like when I hear a fake British accent from somebody.
I know it's fake.
Because you always know when it's fake because it doesn't sound like a real British accent.
Oh, okay.
You know, like a real British accent, just like any accent, has specific words that are always said a certain way. Like if you listen to a New Yorker sit there, every time they sit there and say something like "saw it," they'll say "sorry." You know, like listen to Eddie Kingston next time he's sitting there and saying something about being a bastard.
That's more like a Boston thing because when New York, I live in New York. New York is like dog and cold.
Yeah. You know, but it's like the R's all of a sudden become ahs. You know, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So hearing her say that just kind of like tilted it a little off for me. But again, I'm going to say a solid B-, which is better than what we used to get from her, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing Mandy does or has is B-.
I'm sure she's paid for it.
I'm surprised that the WWE doesn't pay for that stuff anymore.
I'm sure they don't anymore.
I don't think so. I think when you get there, you either have it or you don't, and if you get it, then you're putting it out of your independent contractor pocket. Hey, you know, I'll wait until we get to Dynamite to ask a specific question, but don't let me forget that I have a question about independent contractors. And then my favorite moment of NXT was Tommaso Ciampa.
I thought you were going to say my boy in the poker game.
Cameron Grimes. Hey, who called that? Who called that Cameron Grimes was hustling him the entire way? Like I did.
Yeah,
you know,
that was
funny. Like, hit me. And it's like, no, this is Texas Hold'em. You don't get a hit. And it's, hit me anyway. I got 20. Hit me again. And I told you that it was going to end up being that Cameron Grimes was hustling him. And Cameron Grimes took all that dude's money. All that dude's money. No, but my favorite part of this episode of NXT was Ciampa coming down and sitting there holding Goldie the way that he always does. Mm-hmm. Like something that you wouldn't expect Vince McMahon or Bruce Pritchard to allow is covering up that championship while you
But that's his thing though.
I get it. But remember, this is NXT 2.0. You don't get to be who you were before. You have to be who they want you to be.
I think they let some people, I'm going to say like probably Ciampa and probably Gargano, because they were there from the beginning, have a little leeway.
I agree to a degree. And I think it's we'll play nice. We'll let them be themselves to give the transition more time, right? But him coming down and then all of a sudden, what's his face?
Braun Breaker?
No. The guy that is the North American champion now comes down to the ring and says that his championship's the only championship.
Carmelo Hayes.
Yes. So I have a feeling what we're going to end up seeing, instead of seeing Braun Breaker win the world title, I think we're going to see a unification match between him and Carmelo Hayes. And I think that the reason why is because NXT is going to be looked at as a smaller building ground, so they don't need that many championships because they also still have the 205 Live Championship, which is on Roddy Strong's right now. Yeah. So I think you'll have the cruiser.
I kind of think that I think it's okay to have that North American Championship. I don't disagree. I think, but this is me going back to my old school mentality back in the NWA, early WCW days. I think whoever is that North American champion should be the one that they're shining to go towards that title.
Sure. But
so I don't see why they should take it away. I see what you're saying.
But if they don't take it away, then Carmelo Hayes will have to lose that belt before he goes up against Ciampa.
That's true.
Or whoever is champion by the time he goes after.
He can hold 2 titles until he
I don't think that they want to do that anymore. Like, I think there's very few occurrences where it's Becky 2 belts or Rhea 2 belts or whatever they want to call them in those situations where they've got both championships. I think that they're going to try to go away from that and only do it when it enhances the story in terms of like, I'm going to be a tag team champion with the person I'm going against for my world championship kind of thing.
Okay.
I think that the North American Championship should stay and get rid of that 205 title. I don't disagree. And Roderick Strong would be a great North American champion if you wanted to sit there and just flip-flop the belts on them. At the same time, though, I'm just going by like what I would consider solid booking would be to eliminate one of those titles. And the easiest way to do it right now, if you're going to have Ciampa interacting with Carmelo Hayes, you're going to set up a unification title match. Is my
So if they didn't let Braun Breaker win, why would they let Carmelo Hayes win? Just because of the whole, he's saying that his title is the only title that matters.
I think that it's a build up to the story, right? And it could always be that Carmelo Hayes loses to Tommaso Ciampa in a title for title match, and then Ciampa is both champions, and then Braun Breaker takes both championships. You know, like, whatever. I don't know exactly where they're going with it. I'm actually interested in it because I don't know where they're going with it. You know, just a couple weeks ago, we heard that Cameron Grimes isn't well liked and isn't looked at as a main roster player. And yet here they are still developing him in developmental. So maybe what they're doing is they're trying to enhance his character to where it's a Vince molded thing, and then Vince will move him up, and he'll be the next Santino.
And now, and Zoe Stark's out with the knee surgery, so that's why that angle played out last week with them, with the tag champs attacking her knee.
Yeah,
to get her off TV.
And then, of course, they're bringing back Catanzaro and whatever her tag team partner's name is.
Casey Catanzaro.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I can see her.
Yeah. I watch them on TikTok all the time. Like the two of them are just always dancing around and having fun, which is great that the tag team actually likes them. You know, likes being together that much outside the ring. But other than that, I really didn't have anything else really to say about NXT. I mean, they're doing this weird
with Dakota Kai.
Well,
what are they trying to? I mean, they didn't push her before, so why are they going to push her now?
I mean, they pushed her. She got pushed up to the tag team championships, and she got pushed. She got pushed to be Raquel Gonzalez's opponent, and now it looks like they're going to use another match between the two of them to probably enhance her, because Raquel Gonzalez probably is going up to the main roster around Royal Rumble time.
Who came out to face? Who are they putting against Mandy now? Who?
Io Shirai.
Io Shirai.
Yeah, as well they should. Although unfortunately it means Io's going to lose, and Io is definitely the better wrestler of the two, right?
They might be pushing her up too. You think?
Who, Mandy?
Io to the main roster.
I don't know, man. Like right now, the women's division on Raw and SmackDown is flat.
Yes,
like flat. Like it's flatlining. And what it's got a lot of people thinking is with all these shufflings and layoffs and everything else, that they're going to combine them at some point. And that at WrestleMania, you might see night one's main event be a unification title of the women's championships. And let's be real, having one division of women would probably be better overall.
I think they should have one women's title, but still, I do agree. I do like the women's tag team going back and forth. I like that, but I think we only need, I think we only need one. We need one champion either way, men and women.
So I was thinking about this,
and same thing for the men's tag team.
So I was thinking about this, and I agree. But what I would actually want to see them do is, instead of getting rid of one of the titles and combining them, like actually have one be a lower tiered belt. So Universal Champion and WWE Champion, or vice versa, right? And that way you have a number one title, number two title. Those guys can flip-flop between the two shows. You know, maybe, and you come up with however you want to do it. And then you would have the Intercontinental and the US titles. Maybe even combining the two of those. Because then you have 3 titles over 5 hours of broadcast.
Okay.
Plus the tag team titles. And then, yeah, the tag team titles could be between the two shows too. I don't give a shit. But the problem that they always ran into with when they only had one champion was that when you're touring 2 brands and you only have one championship belt, guess what?
Yeah.
One doesn't do as well as the others, right? So that's why you keep the 2 belts there.
Okay.
And you just have them touring with those belts. Like you said, if you're going to make the Universal Championship the top championship, then you sit there and you go, okay, on SmackDown, the WWE champion is going to be the touring champion, and he's going to be one step below the top guy.
So what about Raw?
Same thing. You just have the Universal Championship being on that.
On both shows, okay.
You know, so but I mean, overall, I understand why the brand extension is so important, because it helps build new talents. If you always have just the same guys in the main event spots on both shows.
Which is what they're doing now.
No. You have Roman on one show, you have Big E on the other show.
Okay.
If you only have Roman versus Big E all the time, you only have 2 main eventers.
Right.
But if you have Roman versus Dean or Drew, and then you have Big E versus Seth, you have 4 main eventers.
Okay.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
And then if you do your stories right, you have 6 and 4. Right? So you'd have 10 total main eventers. And that's what the 2002 brand extension gave us. So all these people that sit there and say that they don't like this separating of the 2 brands and putting one on Fox, one on USA, blah, 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 they're not looking at the bigger picture, which is overall, WWE ends up with more main event talent by doing it this way. I'm not saying it would work with Dynamite and Rampage, because if you did it with Dynamite and Rampage, you literally have 2 main eventers on Rampage because you only have an hour show, right? So you can't do that. So that's why mixing and concocting new stories and everything with Tony Khan seems to be a fly-by-night business. And we'll go ahead and we'll talk about that when we talk about Dynamite here.
We're talking about independent contractors while we're...
Yeah, so everyone talks about the WWE wrestlers being independent contractors, right? Are they employees of AEW? Or are they independent contractors? No one talks about it. If they were
their employees, I think they get health benefits.
I know that Impact was giving health benefits for a while. And I know that when NXT started, NXT was actually paying for health insurance.
I could be wrong, but
I don't know. I don't know. If anybody has the answer to it, I'd love to know. But it makes me question it. The real problem is that we see too much of the champions. And Chris Barrett, you're right. There's a reason behind that. On Monday Night Raw, you probably don't need to see him as often. But on SmackDown, your number one guy is going to be what gets you the ratings. And it's always been that way. When Steve Austin was on a 2-hour Monday Night Raw, it was a higher rated show. When Mankind was at the height of his popularity, same thing there. You know, she always tries to call you when you're doing your show.
Well, in her defense, she didn't know we moved to Tuesday. So.
We moved to Tuesday like 2 months ago.
She doesn't know.
Well, you might want to let her know. Not now, because we're talking about wrestling.
Oh, I must have.
Yeah, well, you're supposed to be talking.
You were talking. You take most of it. You talking most anyway. You were in the middle of talking.
Anyways, Dynamite. Since you didn't watch Raw this week, why don't you go ahead and talk about Dynamite? What?
I'm trying to remember. There's too much wrestling on the brain.
Yeah.
No, that was Rampage. I was gonna say my favorite part of, but it was Rampage, and that happened. Was this the Cody versus Malachi? No, it was Cody and Andrade.
Yes.
Okay. What I don't understand, what I loved, and I wish they would have let happen, is at the end of that match. It was a good match, but at the end of the match, when all was going down and Arn rolled back in that ring.
You thought he was going to turn on?
No, until he took that jacket off. I wanted to let him go. Let him go.
Tully and Arn?
Yes. I didn't think Arn was going to turn on him, but when he took that jacket off, I'm like, oh, this might be better.
I mean, Arn's going to go up and go like this.
No, he's going to go like this.
I don't even know how he was able to do that because he can't move those 2 fingers. Like, did he go like this?
So I'm trying to understand. Okay, so are the Pinnacle and Andrade together, or are they just...
No, they even said that. Andrade paid the Pinnacle to use FTR to get what they wanted. And that's why he gave MJF the envelope.
But Andrade, what did Andrade want? Because he didn't get the titles. I thought he was wanting the
No, he wanted to beat up Cody.
Oh.
Like, and if you notice, okay, 4 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, 7 weeks ago, we're all complaining about Cody being a babyface when everybody wants to turn heel.
And he says he won't turn heel.
So what did they do this week?
Did they turn him heel?
No. What did they do? What's the only way to get people to cheer somebody that they want to boo?
They put him up against somebody
that they want to boo even more. Okay?
And they want to boo Andrade more?
They're booing him. They're still booing Cody.
They could put him against MJF.
Well, he already went against MJF.
Yeah, that's true.
And in fact, that's why he can't go after the world title.
That's right. That's right.
But is now the time to sit there and put him up against MJF again? Maybe. And because of that, like, if it's not MJF, who do they put him up against? Do they put him up against Shawn Spears because MJF beat him? Do they put him in a tag team with his brother Dustin and go up against FTR?
Because FTR is busy with
because here's part of the
brothers.
Here's part of the problem that they've got with with the Cody thing is that Cody wanted to enhance the new talent. He wanted to give them the rub, even though he was going to win the matches, give them the rub so that way they could either be brought in or whatever, right? What happened with that? We got tired of seeing Cody do that. We wanted to see Cody go up in a storyline. We want to see Cody turn heel. We want to see Cody do this. But we don't want to see Cody doing what he's been doing all along.
Has Cody ever been heel in AEW? Has he always been face?
No, he's always been face. The closest he went to being heel was the night that he came out with the black hair. And everybody thought he was going to turn heel, or they thought he was going to have a new attitude.
That's when he came out
with the neck tattoo and everything. Yeah. So it's one of those things where, like, we don't think Cody is booking himself correctly. And he's not.
No.
He wants to be John Cena. He's not John Cena. We said that last week. He's more the Miz. Which means he's a solid hand, good worker, can win the world title and everybody be pissed off for a couple weeks, but then we'll sit there and, you know what? He's a hard worker. Let's see what he can do with it, right? Just like the Miz. The Miz went from winning the Money in the Bank, winning the world title, going all the way through WrestleMania, and holding on to the world title through WrestleMania when everybody thought John Cena was walking out with that belt. You know, and what was that? That was thanks for all the hard work. And while you weren't necessarily the top guy, you were a serviceable enough guy that you got us through a tough time to where we can now focus on John Cena versus The Rock.
Yep.
That's what he did. Because if you remember, shortly thereafter, we had Survivor Series, which was The Rock's return match.
Yes.
And that match was The Rock and John Cena.
Right.
Versus The Miz, and do you remember who?
Was it Alex? No one else.
No, it was not Alex Riley.
No one Morrison. No, who was it?
Truth. Ron Killings.
Right. That's right. That's right. Because
Think
awesome
about that.
Truth.
Yeah, awesome truth.
I forgot about that tag team.
Yeah. So think about that. So anyway, getting back to the Cody thing, like at this point, the only thing that you can do to hope to turn him babyface and keep him that way
Give me a heel one.
is have a heel run all over him. Like what he should, you know who'd be perfect for him right now? Miro. And you have him get his ass kicked like 5 weeks in a row by Miro. Because we're cheering Miro, but we're cheering him for his heel work. He is over as a monster heel.
Yeah.
Like when he got his hands on like Darby Allin and he ragdolled him around the ring.
Yes.
And when he went up against Cuervo Gold or whatever his name is.
No, Sammy's friend.
Yeah. Cuervo Gold.
No.
Fuego
del Sol.
Yeah. Del Cuervo. No?
The views and statements made by Rob Potchak is not...
hey, I don't want to hear it after I saw the Najee Harris interview with the Univision this week.
That's still not on the Pots and Pans Network. The views... the things that Rob says, Tino does not.
Hey, maybe I'm going to help Cuervo or what's his name? Fuego del Sol, right?
I'm not getting canceled because of you.
Is it Fuego del Sol?
Yes.
Okay. Maybe he gets a Cuervo Gold endorsement deal. Do you think he'd turn it down? They got Pabst Blue Ribbon now. And how is Hangman Page not the Pabst Blue Ribbon guy?
See, now you got him doing it.
No, I think he actually tried to. Did he say Chavo del Sol? No, Cuervo. Cuervo is what he wrote. Okay, so we also, because of the Jon Moxley thing, Miro got put into that match against Orange Cassidy,
Which made me believe that Moxley was supposed to go over because Miro.
Oh, Moxley was supposed to go over. Moxley was gonna go against Bryan Danielson for the number one contendership, and rumor was that Moxley was going to turn heel. So, because if Hangman won the world title, he was going to need a strong heel to go against, so making Moxley the number one contender.
It's going to be Miro though.
Well, because Miro had already lost.
Okay. I just want Miro to get the title.
Well, so you want a WWE guy to have the AEW title?
With all the work and hard work he's putting in, and the monster heel that he's become.
So hold on. I love
fucking Moxley won as the WWE guy winning the title.
Yeah, he did. Actually, the first two.
That's what I'm saying.
The first two AEW champions.
That's
were
what I'm saying.
WWE guys, but that's because they were the most over guys in the locker room.
Yeah.
So with Miro though, a year ago, where was he?
WWE.
No. He was in AEW by then.
Oh yeah.
But what was he?
The best man.
The best man. The video game player.
I think that
the blonde Miro.
I think that was before the video.
Well, it was all part of the same thing. 6 months ago, where was he?
He was God's favorite wrestler.
Well, now he's God's favorite wrestler.
He was pulling that 6 months ago, too.
Either way, he's changed characters 3 times in a year to finally get to this spot where we're going, that's who he should have been all along. Because guess who it is? It's the same monster he was when he became the U.S. champion in WWE. And then he lost to John Cena. Yes, I want Brock to show up and kick Kenny Omega's ass. Yeah, we would all love that, but they give the belt back to Vince. That would never happen. Vince, Brock Lesnar would be more likely to throw the belt at Vince. But so we're gonna get Bryan Danielson versus Miro.
Right.
That match will determine who's going to win the world title at Full Gear.
Right.
Because if Bryan Danielson wins, Kenny Omega stays champion.
Yes.
If Miro wins, Hangman Page becomes champion.
Okay.
Am I right?
Yes.
So middle of the card, we will already know who's going to win the world championship. 90% sure.
85.
Really? You think they'd go, okay, Hangman babyface versus Bryan Danielson babyface?
It can happen.
I don't think so.
They might turn. Why can't they turn Daniel?
Well, I think they could turn Bryan Danielson heel. I don't think Bryan Danielson's ready to be heel. I do, however, think that Bryan Danielson's ready to lose his first match to a guy like Miro.
Yes.
Just like I'm going to go ahead and jump right into Rampage.
I don't think he's going to lose.
Who, CM Punk?
Yeah.
No, he's not. But let's go ahead and talk about it. So we have Bryan Danielson in a match to open up Rampage again. And who was it against?
Oh, it was against the Acclaim, dude. Because he.
Because he came out.
I'm cutting careers faster than your father-in-law. I'm like, oh.
And did you see Bryan Danielson's face? Bryan Danielson was like,
because he came out and said you're only known because of your wife's.
Total divas.
And then he said, "I'm killing careers faster than your father-in-law." Even I was like, "The fuck he say?"
And I don't know if Max Caster is told, hey, you got to tell us what you're going to say before you go out there.
But I think he scored points back for that one, though.
Oh, it was a great line. It totally was a great line. So have Brock steal the belt, then have Vince as the higher. No, come on, Chris Barrett. Let's talk real wrestling, okay? Let's talk real wrestling. So we have that great match. And did you notice how well Bryan Danielson's chest had actually like recovered?
I was surprised. I was looking at that. I was looking to see.
I was waiting to see that ham sandwich just like hanging off of his chest, and no, he completely healed in a week.
Yeah, I was surprised.
He must have put some Bactine or some Neosporin.
What he did, man, because that was hamburger meat and blood and broken blood vessels.
He looked, like his chest 2 weeks ago looked like a roast beef sandwich.
Woo!
Like an Arby's roast beef sandwich. Yeah.
Woo!
But then immediately after that, we get CM Punk, Eddie Kingston in the middle of the ring.
But before that, the CM Punk, the classic thing, he paid tribute to Moxley. He wanted people to cheer for Moxley. And he's like, if you need help, don't be ashamed to ask. Blah 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 blah. I thought that was cool. No,
and it totally is. And having a straight edge guy say that,
yes,
is an important thing to do because if you had Hangman Page come out and have a a bottle of Jack in his hand sitting there saying, hey, if you're having trouble, go get help. And I wouldn't be surprised if they drop that moniker from Hangman for a while.
What?
The drinking.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they will. This is in bad taste. Yeah,
depending on what alcohol it is, it's in bad taste.
But anyway, I couldn't tell at first. Okay, it was the confrontation he had with CM Punk, pronouns. The confrontation that CM Punk and Eddie Kingston had at first. Okay, this is a work, but then you're like, is this a fucking shoot?
No, it's not a shoot. Those two guys have known each other for 20 years.
CM Punk's face. Kingston's face.
They had bullet points, and then those bullet points got thrown out the window because one guy pushed a button, and then the other guy threw a book at him. Okay, and it was masterful to watch CM Punk get schooled.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
mm-hmm.
Now while he got schooled, if you notice when Eddie was trying to compose himself to be able to finish what he needed to get out, and that was raw emotion. That was real. That's where the WWE loses that competitive edge because it's so scripted and so not real anymore. I have a feeling that Moxley won't stop drinking. He's going to wind up. I won't speak on anybody's alcoholism because I'm probably a high-functioning alcoholic myself. So I'll just leave that alone. But getting back to what we were talking about, obviously the Players Tribune, Tino sent me.
I was going to say to read that.
Sent me that. It was such a long read,
yeah,
man. Like that right there shows. Okay, as a writer, what he wrote there shows his manic depression and why he needs Zoloft. Okay, he had a point to make, and his point got dragged out over a week's worth of writing. Okay, and it was excellently written. It was very, very nicely done. It really gave you an insertion into the mind of Eddie Kingston. At the same time, it showed how big the deficiency is based on his depression and everything else. Okay. And I'm probably not saying this correctly. I'm not trying to insult him or anything. He obviously put his heart on his sleeve when he wrote it. And I love the message, which was, now my nephew can sit there and tell his friends, Uncle Eddie's a pro wrestler, and you can watch him on TV, and they see him like they know it's him. And he's not a character. He's Eddie Kingston, right? He knows he's overweight. He knows that like he's not as physically sound in the ring as some of these other guys.
I didn't realize all these years watching Kingston, I thought that was a character. They get in the character,
and he even said that.
Yeah, reading that, I'm like, No, that's that some bitch.
No, he's actually a mentally depressed individual who
has anger issues.
Who, if he didn't have pro wrestling and a division around him that allowed him to exude that frustration, he probably wouldn't be here right now.
Yes.
You know, we just had Daphne kill herself just a couple, a month ago.
A little over.
And it's because she was depressed. And unfortunately, these guys are depressed and they get hit in the head a lot, which causes, the post-traumatic stress syndrome and everything else that they go through. So, like, they're not helping themselves by doing that. In fact, the WWE is more ballet than what these guys are doing in AEW, which means that it would be a better and a safer place for them to do this rather than AEW. We've already talked about that.
Yeah.
We think that at some point Bryan Danielson's going to end up with a concussion
again.
And so far he looks like he's been pretty safe with his head in the ring, but he's going to do a diving headbutt at some point, and you're going to see his eyes glazed over, and we're all going to be sitting there going,
"That's it, he's done."
Hey, we can't allow him to do that. Same with Christian. Christian in, I don't remember who it was, but there was one of the TikToks that's WWE gone real, or when WWE wasn't fake or whatever, and they show him get kicked in the head and the referee going like this, and he just rolled out of the ring and just started walking up the ramp. It was like, he's done. I don't even think he got pinned in the match. The Kingston and Punk thing, though, getting back to that on Rampage, there's one issue with it. Like, is it the perfect foil for Punk right now? I want to say the answer is yes. Eddie was getting cheered. It was the first time that Punk's been in the AEW ring that while they were cheering him at the beginning, they weren't necessarily cheering him at the end. And I think it's because what they're seeing as fans
is real.
Is that CM Punk isn't an AEW guy. CM Punk is a CM Punk guy. Eddie Kingston, who never thought that he would make it in AEW, worked his ass off in the match with Cody, got the contract, worked the Full Gear main event last year against Moxley, took the thumbtacks to the back, after the thumbtacks, took the rubbing alcohol, poured on him, everything else. And you're sitting there going, son of a bitch, that guy's willing to do anything. And of course, like you said in the Players Tribune article, I wasn't thinking I'm going to be world champion. I was thinking I got to make a mortgage payment. And it's stuff like that as it comes through, you start realizing that a guy like CM Punk is the WWE here. He's not an AEW guy. And so let me explain. He's the big money. He's the face that runs the place. He's the guy that made millions and walked away. And said in multiple interviews, I don't have to go back. For 7 years said, I don't want to go back. I don't need it. I don't love it anymore. So now you have a guy named Eddie Kingston, 20 years in the industry, a year ago was sitting there saying, how am I going to pay for, how am I going to pay for braces on my kid? I don't know if that's really a thing, but how am I going to pay my house payment? How am I going to pay my car payment? How am I going to get from one town to the next to wrestle when there aren't fans in the stands? And I don't even know if I'm going to get paid. Right. So you take the guy who has truly worked himself back up, paid his dues in the worst possible moment of professional wrestling. And if you notice, CM Punk didn't come back until the second week that they had fans in the stands. Mm-hmm. That really is someone that's basically just clamoring for.
Well, I think they did that on purpose. I don't think that was all CM Punk because they also did it around SummerSlam because they knew.
Well, yes, you can't necessarily blame CM Punk. They knew that they wanted 15,000 people in that Rampage audience. They knew that they wanted it in Chicago. They knew that and they knew they were going to have him there, right? So they did all that. You're absolutely right. But how's it look when you have a guy like Eddie Kingston who went a year without fans in the stands, sitting there begging for a paycheck, and willing to put his body through anything. And then you have CM Punk sitting there saying, hey, you just ruined my 5-minute interview. So my problem, though, with it isn't anything between the two competitors, isn't the fact that I don't think we're going to get a bang-up match. Love the fact that Kingston sat there and said, I'm not going out there to win or lose this match. I'm just going out there to beat you up. Mm-hmm. And I wish that he would have said, beat the shit out of you. Because that would have gotten the crowd pop.
Yeah.
Right? Anytime they use the word shit.
Because we're all fifth graders.
Well, exactly. We really are. Maybe Bryan Danielson has learned the uses of maybe. And I don't know if they drug test in AEW. I'm going to say probably not. But so anyway. Well, I still find it funny that Riddle went to WWE even though they knew that WWE tested for marijuana because that's what Randy Orton got popped for. You know, like.
That's why okay, bro. So
well, you know, Randy has asked for, you know, some of his substances.
Yeah.
But okay. So I just want to finish up with this moment, and then I want to talk about John Silver versus Budge. Because I want to talk about the Budge thing because I don't watch Being the Elite.
I don't either.
But I think that there's an inside story there that actually can be talked about. So I don't expect Eddie Kingston to win the match at Full Gear. I expect him to get his licks in. I expect him to
it'll be a good match.
It's gonna be a beatdown. It's gonna be like they're gonna have to.
I don't think it's gonna be a squash. I think he's gonna beat the shit out of CM Punk. You know what I'm saying? CM Punk's gonna know he was there.
CM Punk is gonna put him to sleep. He's gonna hit him with the go to sleep. He's gonna win the match. But I don't think it's the end of the feud. And if it is, it's sad. Yeah. Because this has the makings of a year-long feud like Jericho and MJF.
Yes.
However, it shouldn't have started the way that it started, and it shouldn't have a match 2 weeks in. Yeah. This should have been a slow build where like the two of them keep rubbing each other the wrong way for a couple weeks, months, whatever, before they finally make the match. But I think they got forced into having to do the match now, right? Now I want to talk about John Silver and Budge.
All right.
Okay. First of all, we're talking about Adam Cole. For those out there that don't necessarily watch AEW, the Budge thing.
Where did that come from?
Well, if you notice, one of the things that they said was that on Being the Elite, John Silver offered Adam Cole the opportunity to be his manager.
Shave his head,
and, well, cut his hair, but cut his hair and be his manager. And they were going to call him Budge. Okay? This all goes back to the WWE's idea of what they had for Adam Cole.
Yes. But why Budge, though? I'm trying to remember where that Budge came from.
I don't know.
I got that part about the manager and stuff.
But you know that Adam Cole's name on Twitch is Chugs.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So he goes by Chugs online.
Okay.
So I would anticipate that has something to do, like how they did it or whatever. But like, is it just me, or should Adam Silver have won that match?
He should have won that match.
Or John Silver. John Silver should have won this match because at the beginning, Adam Cole's selling the head injury. And then he takes 3 kicks to the side of the head and immediately turns it around.
He's best friends with the Young Bucks. They're not going to let him lose. It's the New Age clique, my friend.
Imagine how much that live crowd, because this was a live Rampage, imagine how much that live crowd would have exploded seeing Adam Cole lose that match.
And it wouldn't have hurt Cole. It would not have hurt Cole.
Cole is Teflon. We went to an NXT show right before, well, what, 2 years ago?
Yes, it was right before.
It was before the pandemic.
Because we went this time October, and then they hit that following.
Well, I think the show was in January. I think the show was in January.
But yeah, it was a couple months later when everything shut down.
Because we saw that, and then we went to New Japan like a week later.
Yeah.
And Matt Riddle went up against Adam Cole, and Matt Riddle went over Adam Cole, And this was before Adam Cole became the NXT World Champion.
But he was still with, they were still.
Yeah, he was still Undisputed Era and everything. But then at the end of the night, just like old school WWE, where the good guys said, he took everybody's finishing move. He took EC3's finishing move. He took Keith Lee's finishing move. He took Tommaso Ciampa's. He took Velveteen Dream. He took Aleister Black's finishing move. He took every single finisher known to man. And then when he got up, everybody was still chanting "Bebe," like, because and this was they were all booing him the rest of the night. But then at the end, obviously, when he went boom,
Bebe.
like, and Bebe, and we all sucked. We all got sucked in. Yeah, it just. But that shows that I think at that point, Triple H was like, "Hey, we're gonna put the strap on you at some point, but you gotta stop being such a dick. So you're gonna eat everybody's finisher for a month and a half.
Yeah.
Every house show we do, you're eating the finishers, and what did they do? They gave him the longest title reign in NXT history, right? So I think that the booking in AEW is questionable sometimes, and this was one of those questionable moments where you knew that Adam Cole had an injury, a head injury, should have sold the injury, not been able to get up, would have gotten sympathy on the character, everything else. Kenny Omega could have come out the next week and been like, "Hey, we're the Super Click. You don't lose. Like what are you doing losing? Like you," and then. Oh, I'm messing with you because we're the Super Click. It was Rampage. Nobody cares about that show anyway. It's 11 o'clock at night, whatever. And then, like that starts setting the seeds and starts selling the moment that is going to happen at some point, or at least we hope it will, where you have Mount Rushmore versus Kenny Omega, right? So that's where I have a problem with a lot of the stuff when it comes to AEW is that they. You want to think that they've got long-term booking, like they do with MJF and Jericho, like they did with the Pinnacle, and then they do stuff like this, where it's like you obviously could give John Silver a victory here
on Rampage,
and the only reason why they don't, you have to assume, is because wins and losses matter, and Adam Cole's record right now has 0 losses.
That needs to change too.
So let's go ahead and talk about SmackDown. I take 1 week off. And SmackDown sucks. It almost sucked as bad as Raw. And Jimmy Uso's sitting there laughing. Was this
my favorite?
Is this funny to you?
Which one of y'all lost? Remember, he's like, which one of y'all lost her?
It's so good, man.
My favorite. It's the little things, and I always say it's Paul Heyman. It's the little things when they're cutting the promo in the ring, when Xavier and Kofi are talking to the Bloodline, and Roman goes like this because one of the Usos, I remember, still had the microphone, and he's looking at him, and he was like, "You give him the mic," but he puts on his hand, "You give him the mic." It's the little things that he does that you don't really notice in the moment.
Did you notice that the Hand of the King thing is a unicorn? It's a unicorn.
Yes.
It's all the small things.
And Heyman is perfect. Because the look on his face because Roman's is sitting there and Uso's looking at him, he's like, "You must drop the belt. You hand him the mic. You hand him the mic. You put the mic." And he snaps it and put it in it. I couldn't pay attention to anything else because I'm laughing at Heyman.
It's so good, man.
His facials, it's just.
So I saw an interview with him and I think Chris Van Vliet not too long ago, and Heyman was sitting there saying, he was talking about how he learned from the Grand Wizard, how he learned from Classy Freddie Blassie, how he learned from Lou Albano. He learned from all of these guys how to be the perfect manager, and he said that the things that you didn't want to learn back then were like from Classy Freddie Blassie, you didn't want to be the center of the storyline.
Right.
And you wanted to build the storyline for the person that you were representing, but you still wanted to be in the background. The problem that we have in WWE, that entire Brock versus Roman match at Crown Jewel, who was the center of the storyline?
Heyman.
It wasn't the championship. It wasn't Brock Lesnar making his return after 18 months off. It wasn't Roman. It was all Paul Heyman. And even now, it's Wise Man. Wise Man, what? Why didn't you tell me about Brock Lesnar? And I didn't know my tribal chief. I didn't know. You know, it's so it Heyman is becoming bigger than the story.
Yes.
And he always has been. You know, that's why when Brock Lesnar would be gone for 6 months, all they'd have to do to build up a Brock Lesnar match was have Paul Heyman come out
and cut promos.
And cut a promo. And you can't do that with Roman because Roman doesn't let Paul speak for him. Paul only speaks for Roman when it's enhancing the Brock storyline.
Yes.
Otherwise, Heyman goes outside and he speaks, you know, oh, you're not allowed in there. Why would you think you're allowed in there right now? You're not allowed. No. Only people asked for by my tribal chief are allowed.
Yes.
You know, like that kind of thing. And what I love about him though is that he's able to do that and he can sit there and talk like this to you instead of always having to project the voice, like you're saying when it's in the background of when you give him the microphone, you hand, you know, like that whole thing. Like you could see him getting red, you could see him getting angry, you can see the walrus coming out of him, you know. But at the same time, he's trying to stay in the background, but he's so colorful. Like, did you see the video from like 2 weeks ago for the house show? Where like he was part of the 6-man tag match.
I think I saw pieces of that.
And he was like I don't remember who the other team was. It might have been the New Day. I don't know. But like they were sitting there saying, "We want Heyman. We want." And Heyman's like, "Yo, you want some of this? Okay." And he like takes the jacket off and he undoes the tie and he gets tagged in. And as he goes to get in the ring, he falls down.
Yeah.
And then they just start beating the shit out of him. And it's like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like
that's a Bobby the Brain.
Yes, it is. I feel like Paul isn't putting himself in the middle of the story. I don't know if Paul's putting himself in the middle of the storyline or if the storyline is written directly around Paul.
Yeah.
I don't think it's because of Paul. I think Paul realizes to make the story work, he has to be in the middle of this storyline. And the only time that's not going to be necessary from now until Roman loses the title is going to be when Roman goes up against The Rock. And even there, Paul's going to have to be the mouthpiece because even as good as Roman is getting, he can't go one-on-one with the Great One.
No.
So, Tino, I need to talk about what I hated about SmackDown.
Let's do it. Happy, and what's his name? Happy Gilmore now. Happy
Corbin and Riddick Moss or Mad Cat Moss. Who did they go against?
Cesaro's in a tag team. Cesaro and was it Ricochet?
No. Worse.
I remember when I saw that tag team, I'm like, you gotta be shitting me.
So
Cesaro's gone down.
So this is the first time since Cesaro signed his new contract that I feel bad for Cesaro signing that new contract.
I told you they pushed him for him to sign it, and then I told you they were going to shit on him.
Well,
once he signed.
This was the first time that it truly looked like they shit on him.
Because who's his tag team partner?
Mansoor.
That was it. I knew it was. I was like, what the fuck is this?
And it wasn't like, Mansoor got his ass beat, so Cesaro came up backstage and said, "Hey, kid, I got you. Let's go do this."
Did they even have music? Weren't they?
It was Cesaro's music.
They did come out to music.
They came out to Cesaro's music, but the problem was there was no reason why these two guys should be tag teaming with each other against Corbin and Moss. Like, there's no reason, and it truly made me sit there and go, Cesaro should have left. should have left. Like, this is a guy who we have already said, when you want a true world champion, the motherfucker speaks 5 goddamn languages.
And that's why Vince said he probably doesn't, because he might not understand it, because he's Swiss, so he might not understand what's going on. Vince speaks 5 languages. How many languages do you speak, Vince? Well, I sneezed in front of you.
What the hell was that? Yeah, that's all I got.
Yep, me too.
So now one last show.
I think, and
Tino didn't watch it.
my DVD didn't allow me. It pulled your.
So we got 2 things from Monday Night Raw last night that absolutely must be talked about. There was a 6-woman match to determine who was going to be the #1 contender for Becky Lynch's title.
I know that was going to win.
5 of the competitors: Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Carmella, Zelina Vega. Who was the 5th one? Doudrop.
Doudrop wasn't in it.
Well, but hold on. There was a 6-woman match.
From what I saw, I remember my shit was.
So maybe I'm missing one of the actual wrestlers that was in the match, and Liv Morgan. 5 of those wrestlers are your Survivor Series team, and the other one was Liv Morgan. So who was going to win this match? Liv Morgan.
It was like they're about to do a program from what Doudrop and Belair.
Uh-huh.
How's that?
Zelina is winning the belt. I'm going to tell you, I heard something today that I absolutely 100% agree with, and I don't know why they're not doing it, but she won the Queen's Crown tournament, and after 1 week of talking like she was a queen, she's just walking out to the ring again, where she should probably have, okay, how much does she weigh? Zelina Vega.
$1, if that.
With bricks in her pockets, okay? So Zelina Vega weighs 96 pounds. I'm guessing. Okay, why the fuck don't they have her coming out with 4 guys actually like walking her down to the ring and her sitting there going like this? You know, like,
yeah,
it's the perfect heel move.
Yeah,
and you really only need 2 guys walking her down to the ring because she's that small. Like you literally have so many dudes still on the roster that want to just be on TV, that they could be the harem for her.
Yeah.
And yet, no. She runs down to the ring. Just like everybody else. There's nothing special about it. At least with the King of the Ring, Xavier Woods said, "My first decree is I will have my own entrance music."
And he does.
And he now does. First time since he's been on the main roster that he's had his own entrance music.
And he is playing this King thing to the hilt. I love it. I love it.
Well, he did say that this is his world championship.
Yeah.
He knows he's not going to be world champion.
Yeah.
But he is. I mean, Shinsuke, I thought, did really well with the crown. I even liked that Shinsuke relinquished the crown so that way the new king could actually wear it. Although it's a completely different crown.
Yeah.
You know, like I really like that. But watching Liv Morgan win this match, after watching Liv Morgan lose for like 6 straight years.
Yeah. And she's going to lose again. She's not winning that title.
I don't know.
She's not taking that title off Becky.
I don't know. I could see her taking the title off of Becky just so that Becky gets really, really pissed off and like snaps, and you finally get to see why Becky Lynch wants to be a heel. You know, like right now, Becky as a heel isn't working.
No.
Everybody's cheering her still. And putting her up against Liv, you actually want to cheer Liv. So again, the whole Cody Rhodes thing, if you want somebody to boo somebody, you put somebody in the ring with them that you know is like the heart and soul favorite.
Yeah.
You know, and let's be real, like everybody that Liv knows has been released.
Yeah.
Her boyfriend, Bo Dallas, gone.
She did Bo Dallas?
She's dating Bo Dallas.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Sarah Logan, gone. Ruby Riott, gone. Like everybody that she knew, gone. Right? It's down to her, the little girl from New Jersey, the one that burps on the car rides and does shit like that, and everybody likes her because they're like, man, I bet I'd see her at a Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And she's hot.
What's your second point about Raw?
Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins. Hell of a main event. Hell of a main event. And then they fucked it all up at the end.
Why, Bob?
I'm okay with the heel turn because I know that's what you thought I was going to say. I'm okay with the Kevin Owens heel turn because Big E needs heels. And Kevin Owens can play that role, and Kevin Owens can come across as a snarky motherfucker.
Yes.
That will be able to hopefully elevate Big E. Because I don't think Seth Rollins elevates Big E.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Kevin Owens like has like that pizzazz that can do that. Whereas I really don't think Seth Rollins.
I don't like his new character.
Well, nobody knows what his new character is. But with Kevin Owens in this situation, Kevin Owens apologizing, saying, "Hey, I didn't mean to mess with you last week or whatever." Big E not taking the apology. Big E's out there at ringside. Austin Theory comes out and gets a selfie with him and smacks the phone out of his hand. And then the match happens, and the match ends with Seth Rollins sneaking his way back into the ring, and Kevin Owens brushing up against Big E and not being able to get around him to get into the ring in time. Horseshit. Now, immediately after that, Big E turns around and he's like this or whatever, and then he gets kicked in the side of the head, and they almost missed the kick. But he dropped like a sack of potatoes.
I missed that. Was it a super kick or what?
I mean, like Owens is on the ring apron, and Big E's down outside, and Owens just bam.
Oh my god!
And he catches him like right here, and it's just like a sack of potatoes falls down. And by the way, it's like the first time I've ever seen Big E sell like that, because normally Big E gets right back up, But instead, Owens takes him, throws him into the ring steps like 4 times, and then when he throws everything off of the table, like you think he's going to powerbomb him through the table, and instead he picks him up for the powerbomb and powerbombs him into the side of the ring.
Like he did
Sami Zayn. Yeah. And then he's sitting there and he's doing this whole number because now he's heel, right? I didn't mean to do it. I didn't want to do it. I hope they don't go that route. I hope he just sits there and goes,
"You pissed me off.
I did it because you prevented me from getting back."
I did it for the Rock.
I did it for the Rock. So that's what I got.
Yeah,
3 hours. That's what I got. Although there was a Finn Balor versus Chad Gable match that was, I think it was last week, but it was phenomenal, man. Like, everyone talks about how WWE doesn't have wrestling, and yet, you get a match like Finn Balor versus Chad Gable, and you're like, those motherfuckers.
Can go.
Yeah. So, all right. I got nothing else.
Nothing else either. Let's get out of here. All right.
All right, let me go ahead and cue up some music. You go ahead and take us home, sir.
All right, folks, we want to say thank you once again, like every week. You don't think Big E was selling that kick?
No, I did think he was selling that kick.
Embarrassing.
Hey, what's up, players? This is
all right,
Hall of Famer.
Like I was saying, folks, thank you for coming.
Oh, Barrett didn't think he was selling that kick?
Nobody else says buy the shirt.
Yeah, not tonight.
No. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we want to say thank you for coming to the show. I want to say thank you for the show. You can check this full out on the Twitter machine. He is that Pop Chat. I am HootieFan91 on Insta. I am SC Tino. He is Pop Chat, Rob Pop Chat. On the I keep TikTok. He is Rob Potsy Pop Chat, right?
And Twitch.
And Twitch is Rob Potsy Pop Chat. You can check us out like you do here every week on the YouTube. Have I missed any? We got so many handles. What's that? Thumbs up. Like the show. If you like the show, give us a thumbs up. Give us a like. Give us a share. And ladies and gentlemen, as always, I want to say thank you to Adam's House Cat for our theme song, which is The Wrestling Song, which you can get on iTunes for 99 cents. And as always, we hear Ric Flair up on that hill in Charlotte. And he is saying, woo!
Oh, he says like Biggie actually got kicked. Yes, Biggie looked like he took one to the chop.
Woo. Like I said,
woo. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Be the man.
You've got to beat the man.